Let me tell you one truth. In today's Nigeria, saving money alone would not take you far. I know you've heard a lot of creators talk about savings, high yield, this or that. Between inflation, unstable naira value, and rising costs, that 1 million naira you kept in the bank last year has already lost its value. So if you're a student, a salary earner, or even self-employed, you must learn how to make your money work for you. And that is exactly what we'll talk about today. 6 of the best and most accessible investments in Nigeria. Now, before we dive in, I want you to keep this in mind. Investment is not only for the rich or for people who understand big grammar, because I hear that sometimes. It's for anyone who wants financial freedom and stability in this fast-changing Nigerian economy. In fact, in this fast-changing world economy. The first investment is the Nigerian stock market. This is where you buy small ownership in Nigerian companies like Jitco, Zenith, Dangote Cement, Elephant, MTN, Airtel. Just think of other household names. When these companies grow and make profits, you earn through dividends and capital gains. The average returns of these typically ranges between 12 to 14% per annum, though it's a bit risky. But then, with patience and consistency, it does pay. So you see a lot of creators telling you online, just go and invest in Jitco, invest in Zenith. Last year they made this. The fact that they made that money last year does not automatically translate to them making that same money or even more this year. So you must be able to understand that this is an investment that takes consistency. Yeah, consistency, guys, and then patience. If you want to start, you can use platforms like Tracker, Bamboo. You guys know that Bamboo is my go-to app. I've been doing this since 2021 on Bamboo. Trove. I also started doing this on Trove. Was it last year or early this year? One of those, but yeah, I'm on Trove as well. If you want the links, I'll put them in the description below. You can click to start yours. You can begin with a small amount, like 10 to 20,000 naira, and learn the ropes as you go. Remember, in the stock market, discipline always beats emotion. So today you may see your stock at maybe 2.6 million and tomorrow it has dropped to 2.3. What are you going to do? Are you going to be emotional about it? Because believe me, in the next 1 month, you can see it at 6 million. You can see it at 4 million, right? So you need to be consistent. Any dividend you make, please reinvest. I have videos on investment, so you can do well to watch after this one. What am I saying in essence? Don't panic sell when you see price fall. That is where most beginners lose, and you don't want to lose. The next investment is real estate. You could tell yourself, how can she be talking about real estate when I don't even have the funds? Wait, there are different kinds of real estate investments, and we're going to talk about them now. Real estate investment can mean buying of land, building rental apartments, or investing in short-let apartments, or what we call Airbnb. And then there is this that's different, which is the REITs, Real Estate Investment Trusts, REITs. That is the key part of the market where people in the category of low income can actually invest and get a share of other people's property. Return on this kind of investment averages between 15% to 30% per annum. So you can see it's quite high. That is depending on the location and the strategy you decide to use. To be honest, a land can even go 100% depending on how the government decides to invest in that location and make it civilized. You'll be surprised. The place you bought last year, if the government decides to start developing that environment, that place can give you a return of 100 to 200% per annum. It will shock you. So if you can't afford a whole plot of land, you have another option. Start with fractional ownership platforms like RiceVest. If you are in my community, you know that I use RiceVest to invest in REITs. That is what I do. So I don't begin to say, oh, I cannot afford this. Oh, I don't have this kind of money. Instead, I look for the best way that my own kind of money can work for me. I use RiceVest to invest in REITs. This does not mean that I'm advertising for RiceVest. This is just a personal opinion. Like I do tell you guys, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm only an educator that shares my own experiences. You can also use Corium, where you can co-own property with other investors. But please, I must mention this. Before you buy land, make sure you do your due diligence for verification. Verify the documents. Always check for survey plans, for titles, and land use to avoid stories that touch. The third is mutual fund. If you're too busy or not yet confident to pick individual stocks, mutual funds are your best friend. This is where experts pulls money from different investors and invest them in safe instruments like bonds, the government bonds, which is 2 to 10 years. That is, there's 2 years, there's 3 years, there's 10 years. If you don't know about it, check a video in my playlist. They help these investors put their money in stocks and in treasury bills. You get your share of the profit without doing the heavy lifting. The returns on these are usually between 12% to 15% yearly. To be honest, the time in, time out, year on year, we say that, it averages between this range. That is not to say it cannot be less or it cannot be more. And the good thing is you can start with just 10,000 naira. You can do this on platforms like Cowrywise, PiggyVest, Stanbic IBTC, and ARM mutual funds. These mutual funds are so interesting because it is low risk. It is easy to understand and it's a great way to start for beginners. Okay, so the next is exchange traded funds. If you have been following my channel, you know this means ETFs. It is the fourth quarter of the year. And if you have been saving since the beginning of the year, or you've been investing since the beginning of the year, I'm sure you must have invested in ETFs if you've been following my channel, because I did the same. ETFs are like baskets that holds many stocks or bonds in one simple package. They give you diversification. So even when one company drops, others help you balance out. And start from 20,000 naira. And the average return is basically between 10 to 16% yearly. Like I do say, it is not static. It could be higher than that, and it could even be lower than that. ETFs are traded in the Nigerian Stock Exchange, and you can buy them through your stockbroker. If you do not have a stockbroker, there are apps that you can use in buying ETFs. Investment apps like Chaka, Bamboo helps you invest in ETFs. If you want low effort and balanced growth, your best bet is investing in ETFs. They are really good for those kind of low risk takers. Next is agricultural investment. Am I telling you to start farming? The answer is not necessarily. Nigeria is an agricultural powerhouse, and smart investors are taking advantage of this. From cassava to poultry to fish farming, you can invest in farms through agri-tech platforms like FarmCrowdy, AgroMall, ThriveAgric. The typical return per cycle, if I'm talking about stock investments and all of that, I tell you per annum. But this is per cycle, knowing that, plants go through a cycle. Their average return ranges between 10 to 30% per cycle, depending on the crop or the livestock. But note this, agriculture carries medium to high risk. Floods, diseases, or delays can affect its yield. So you have to only invest through verified, insured, and transparent companies. If you love the idea of seeing your money grow from the soil, this one is worth exploring. Next is commodities. We're talking about silver, oil, gold. This is where you invest in real assets that holds value, especially when the naira weakens. And believe me, the naira will always weaken because there are other factors affecting the naira beyond your eyes. Gold is one of the best hedges against inflation. You may say, I do not have the money to buy gold, because after all, gold is like 150,000 per gram. So where do I have the money to buy maybe 10 gram or something close to it? You don't necessarily need to have physical gold. You can invest via gold ETFs for as low as 5,000 naira. And you can buy physical gold if you can afford it. The average returns hovers between 10 to 15% per annum, though the prices fluctuate. So you can get 20%, you can get more than that. It depends. As the global economy shifts, commodities can protect your portfolio and they will give you dollar-based stability. Let me tell you this. If you tell yourself, I'm buying this gold and I'm not going to sell it for the next 10 years, believe me, you'll be surprised at the value you're going to sell it when it is time. Now, let's quickly summarize so that you can decide what fits you best. I want you to quickly start that investment in case you have not started it. Some of you have collected that job money this month. This is the fourth quarter of the year and you are still holding it thinking, what do I do with this money? Don't let it just sit in your hands. Today, we have spoken about 6 smart investments in Nigeria you can start with any budget this year. This is a beginner's guide and it's never too late for you. So if you want fast returns, you can try agriculture. If you want safety or peace of mind, stick with mutual funds, bonds. If you want long-term wealth, real estate, stocks, and ETFs, they will serve you best. If you want inflation protection, add a touch of gold and other commodities. The goal is not to chase every opportunity, is to understand your risk appetite and be consistent. Like I do emphasize consistency in investment. Listen, my friend, in this economy, money that doesn't move dies. The cost of living is rising every minute. But then opportunities are rising too. The earlier you start investing, the sooner your money starts working for you. Like I said before, you don't need millions to begin. You just need discipline and direction. Start small, learn fast, and grow steady. Because in Nigeria today, it's not about how much you earn, it's about how much your money earns for you. And I didn't introduce myself initially. Hi, I'm Funke Odode. I'm the founder of Fooby Finance. I'm a business analyst, a business consultant, a risk asset banker, and an economist. So if you're not following Fooby Finance, I would advise you to join. It is free. Also, if you have not purchased our book, Beginner's Guide to Investing in the Nigerian Stock Market, it is still available on seller at a discounted rate. Pick your copy so that nobody needs to keep holding your hand on how to invest in your own stock. You can actually do it yourself. And if you need a one-on-one consultation, click the description below. You will get a chance to speak with me or other industry experts. If you got value from this, please subscribe, drop your comments, even if it's a thank you, drop your investment goals, and let's grow together. I'll see you in the next video. It's a very cold day. It's a rainy day.